Hi y'all, welcome back to Dixie Made for Dixie Life. I wanted to share a family story from back, before my time. It's a story about my great-granddaddy Ward, who I remember quite well considering he died when I was only 5. I was his little shadow, trying to be one step behind him most of the time. When I was growing up, we lived next door to my great-grandparents, so I was there as much as I was at my own home, it seems. Anyhow, this happened long before I was born, back in the mid-1940s, I believe. The story found its way into the newspaper at the time. Granddaddy was a merchant and owned a small country store on the main road in our little community. This day in particular, he was headed into a nearby small town at daybreak, having no idea his day would take such a strange turn. Granddaddy was flagged down by 2 young men who lived in the area. They needed help getting their car out of a sand bed. Being a good Samaritan, Granddaddy obliged and pulled them free before continuing on his way. A few hours later, his daughter and my great-aunt, who helped him run the store, walked over to open up the store, only to discover it had been broken into. Several bags of flour, cartons of cigarettes, beer, peanuts, and other items were missing. She quickly called the sheriff's office for help. A deputy and an officer were dispatched to the scene. Although they found little to go on initially, they did discover the tracks left likely by the getaway car. Without more evidence, the officers returned to the county head to gather additional resources. Meanwhile, around noon, Granddaddy returned home and learned about the robbery for the first time. As the details settled in, something clicked in his mind. He began to suspect the 2 men he'd helped earlier might have been involved. Acting on his hunch, Granddaddy called the local sheriff, who, along with the other investigators, returned to the store for further investigation. Sure enough, the 2 men Granddaddy had rescued earlier that morning, a 30-year-old and a 26-year-old, both former servicemen from the area, were arrested and charged with grand larceny. Investigators found that the tire tracks left at both the store and the sand bed where the car had been stuck matched the tread patterns on the men's vehicle. Further evidence discovered in the men's car and homes linked them to the stolen goods, which were recovered not only from their homes but also from the spot where the car had been stranded. One of the men admitted to having some of the stolen merchandise in his home, but both he and the other suspect denied any involvement in the robbery. Despite their denials, the 2 men were arrested and detained at the time in the county jail, awaiting further legal action. In a twist of fate, Granddaddy's act of kindness had somehow unknowingly led him to the very men who'd robbed his store just hours before. Karma was already at work, and by being a good Samaritan and lending them aid, he solved, or helped solve, his own store's robbery, and give karma, as well as the law, a hand in bringing justice to the thieves. Well, that's all for this little story from the past, for Dixie Made for Dixie Life. Give me a like if you enjoyed this story. Check back for more stories yet to come. See y'all next time.